10 most powerful prehistoric reptiles. There are some strong reptiles today, like the crocodile, the Komodo dragon, the alligator, but nothing like the reptiles that used to exist. Long ago, reptiles ruled the earth. They were enormous, far exceeding the sizes of reptiles today. They were far and away the scariest, most dangerous, most powerful animals on the face of the earth. But if we go back to prehistoric times, which were the most powerful reptiles on the planet? Tylosaurus. Found primarily in the North Atlantic Ocean from 92 million to 66 million years ago, is the Tylosaurus, a type of mosasaur. Tylosaurus looked like a mythical beast, a sea serpent, reaching lengths of 45 feet long in an elongated shape. This marine reptile weighed between 15 and 20 tons. Imagine a reptile in the water that could swim up to 25 miles per hour, twice the length of an orca, 3 times the weight of an orca, and the same hunger to kill and eat other sea life. It was estimated to have a bite force of around 3,000 psi, with that mouth filled with large cone-shaped teeth. Think about this, a jaguar has a bite force of 1,500 psi, so twice the strength for every square inch. The Tylosaurus had a large mouth, so that was plenty of square inches to chomp down hard on its prey. It was one of the largest and most successful predators in the seas and on the planet during its time. Maybe not the most successful, but close. Utahraptor. One of the most popular reptiles of prehistoric times was the raptor, but most people immediately think of the Velociraptor. What about the Utahraptor? The Velociraptor was about 7 feet long and 45 pounds. It was a killer, but was it the most dangerous kind of raptor? Hardly. The Utahraptor was 5 feet tall at the hips. Clearly, he would have towered over a human if standing upright. Utahraptor was 23 feet long and typically weighed 1,000 pounds, oftentimes even clocking in at 2,000 pounds. Yes, a 1-ton, 23-foot-long raptor that was intent on finding the right seasoning to sprinkle on you because you were dinner. Utahraptor had killing claws on his feet that could make a 5 to 6 foot long cut with a single slice, and serrated teeth to rip you to shreds. Yes, he was huge, but don't think you lucked out and he was slower than you. He ran at speeds between 25 and 35 miles per hour. Utah is a nice place to live now. 135 to 130 million years ago, it was the worst place to live because you had to watch out for the 1-ton Utahraptor tearing up the scene. Carnotaurus. Let's step up in size to the Carnotaurus. The Carnotaurus roamed the lands that are now known as South America. His name literally means meat bull, which probably tells you all you need to know. He was a carnivore. As his name suggested, he just wanted meat all the time. In order to get it, he needed to kill, and he was very good at that. He kind of looked like a smaller T-Rex, except he had some big horns just above his eyes. Carnotaurus was about 26 feet long and weighed around 4,000 pounds on average. Along with the horns, Carnotaurus also had a thick, muscular neck. Both were believed to be used for fighting others of his species. So no matter if you were prey or just another dinosaur, Carnotaurus was intent on doing some massive damage to you. Carnotaurus featured that common look, very short arms. In fact, the shortest arms of any dinosaur may have belonged to the Carnotaurus. No matter, he didn't need them. His massive mouth and sharp teeth were more than enough. He bit down with a force of over 1,600 psi, and he could run at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. This was a skilled hunter, larger than any raptor, but still smaller than some other gigantic prehistoric reptiles. Still, his strength was impressive. He just wasn't the strongest of his kind. Triceratops. Let's give some love to the herbivores. So many carnivores were powerful reptiles in prehistoric times, but many of the herbivores needed to be strong too, to defend themselves. One of the strongest was Triceratops. When threatened or provoked, Triceratops could become very aggressive, which is not something you'd want to see, considering he was equipped with a lot of tools to damage you. The Triceratops was kind of like a prehistoric rhino, but larger. 3 horns on his head that he could use to slash and stab at his opponents. The horns got longer the more the Triceratops aged. They could get to be beyond 3 feet long and sometimes twisted and curved. Not a feature you'd want the horn to have. if it stabbed into you. Triceratops himself would be around 30 feet long and weigh over 20,000 pounds. Triceratops was more of a defensive type of dinosaur. He only ran at about 14 to 15 miles per hour at his top speed, but if a predator neared him, he probably wasn't running. He'd square up with the predator, show him his horns, and use them if he had to. Many would-be predators would probably quickly change their mind after a Triceratops became defensive and aggressive. And if he didn't change his mind, he'd either live to regret it, or maybe not live at all. The Triceratops played defense, but when he did, he had impressive strength. Kronosaurus. Back to the oceans. 145 million years ago, a marine reptile, Kronosaurus, named after a Titan king. The name was fitting because the Titan king, Kronos, was an absolute monster. Kronos had a prophecy that one of his kids would overthrow him, so each time a new kid was born, he ate the kid. Kronosaurus was even scarier than the winner for Greek mythology's worst dad of the year. He was around 33 to 35 feet long, weighed 15 to 20 tons, and was a fast and active swimmer. He had paddle-like limbs, a long head, and a short neck. He had large cone-shaped teeth, so he wasn't looking for little fish to feast on. He went after large prey, sinking his teeth into their flesh and tearing them apart. The strong flippers would propel him forward suddenly in an ambush, and before the prey knew what was happening, it was too late. Those 12-inch long teeth would already be embedded in their body, and that muscular neck would be ripping them back and forth. No word on if Kronosaurus ate his own kids, but who knows? Pliosaurus. Here's another marine reptile who wasn't named after a scary Greek mythological character, but instead had a scary name himself, Predator Rex. That's what he was called at first, before receiving a proper name, Pliosaurus. But Predator Rex has stuck, and it is fitting. This is a highly successful predator, which becomes clear when you see the range in which they lived was from 200 million to 65 million years ago. Predator Rex makes him sound like he's a killer from a sci-fi movie. Maybe he was. Pliosaurus lived all over, in the seas around Europe, Australia, and South America. They hunted fish and squids and other marine reptiles, even other Pliosaurus. Brutal. It's believed the bite force of Pliosaurus was around 33,000 pounds per square inch. That's more than the great white at 4,000 psi, more than the Nile crocodile at 5,000 psi, and even more than an orca at 19,000 psi. That's a heavy-duty bite. No wonder why they called this guy Predator Rex. Mosasaurus. Another marine reptile was Mosasaurus. Mosasaurus was one of the biggest marine reptiles ever, often thought to be the biggest. He was often 40 feet and longer, and the largest specimens could reach 56 feet in length. He weighed about 22,000 pounds. A good way to visualize that: he was almost twice as long as an orca, and he was almost twice the weight. So Mosasaurus was two orcas essentially. Was he twice as vicious? Probably. Mosasaurus had a massive mouth lined with 40 to 50 teeth, each a little over an inch long. Those jaws could probably produce a bite force of 13,000 to 16,000 psi, so about 4 times the strength of a saltwater crocodile, and stronger than almost every living animal today. It probably doesn't matter if it was the strongest or second strongest. When a 56-foot-long marine reptile is biting into you with 50 teeth, you're not going to be feeling very lucky. Mosasaurus was one of the true terrors of the sea for around 16 million years. That was a time to absolutely avoid the water, but there were plenty of times in which you would have wanted to avoid the land as well. Allosaurus. Between 155 and 145 million years ago, you'd be smart to avoid the large bipedal dinosaur known as Allosaurus. His stomping grounds were North America, Europe, and Africa, so those were the unlucky continents. He had a massive head on a short neck, was about 28 to 32 feet long, and weighed about 4,000 pounds. He could move between 20 and 34 miles per hour, was clearly a large carnivore. He was strong, and uniquely, he actually had some arms that he could use. Unlike other theropods, Allosaurus had fairly strong arms. Seems unfair. Strong arms in addition to what was already a scary mouth. Long blade-like teeth, serrated like steak knives, because they basically were. They could open their mouths to amazing angles, at least 79 degrees, perhaps even up to 92 degrees. That's a wide mouth. You don't want to be around when that thing clamps down. Allosaurus preferred larger prey, about as large as it gets, like Stegosaurus and Brachiosaurus. If you're going to be taking those animals down, you got some strength. Those arms may have helped, or maybe it was just the mouth that opened past 90 degrees. Spinosaurus. That was a long time ago. What if we fast forward in time and see if the land's cleared out of scary predators? How about, say, 99 million years ago? Nope. Still scary. Spinosaurus was stomping around at that time. He could be found mainly in northern Africa, and if you were in that location around that time, you were quite the unfortunate soul. Spinosaurus might have been one of the first horror movies. That is, if horror movies were actively trying to eat you. Spinosaurus was enormous, standing over 20 feet tall and reaching 45 feet in length, sometimes even exceeding 50 feet in length. And he could weigh over 40,000 pounds. He was an extremely strong dinosaur in many ways. That massive size suggested he had brute strength. It was the largest carnivore to roam the earth, so it had plenty of strength to go along with each ounce. And he had full use of his arms, slashing at prey, latching onto them, holding them still while he bit down into them. It wasn't just his muscular body that possessed strength. The jaws could exert 4,000 pounds per square inch of force in a bite. He could run at about 15 miles per hour, and even was pretty quick in the water since he was semi-aquatic. Land, water, it didn't matter. Spinosaurus would get you. It was almost like he couldn't be stopped, like there was nothing that compared to him. Tyrannosaurus Rex. But don't forget about the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the T-Rex. Sure, the T-Rex was smaller than Spinosaurus, just about 40 feet in length, and weighing around 18,000 pounds. Still enormous, but not the biggest land carnivore, and his arms were far less impressive than the Spinosaurus. T-Rex was probably a little faster than Spinosaurus, but this isn't a track meet. This is about who is more powerful. And if the two went head-to-head, well, T-Rex had a lot of bulk, a lot of weight and strength to swing around. But you might worry because Spinosaurus was just so much larger. But it's all about the bite. The strongest bite force of any land animal that has ever existed belonged to the T-Rex, 8,000 psi. Double that of the Spinosaurus. Just let the T-Rex deliver one bite and it was all over. His humongous mouth contained 60 serrated teeth. So many teeth, all serrated, all ready to carve you up. Lucky for you and for Spinosaurus, Tyrannosaurus Rex lived about 68 to 66 million years ago, so there was no overlap. He lived in much of the US, so we'd like to apologize to any animal he considered prey in that region. He was one of the most powerful prehistoric reptiles ever, strongest bite of any land animal ever. That's a title he will keep, probably forever.